Welcome back to the Optional Boss Podcast. We're your hosts, Josh and Tyler, and we are into 2024. And you may have noticed that we missed out on the New Year's episode, but don't worry, we took a little bit of a break. We needed a bit of a break, and we are now refreshed, reinvigorated, and here to talk about some anticipations, a look back on 2023, and we will also touch on the challenges that we have completed. Tyler, how are you?
See, that's why we did it. It's not out of any kind of... We didn't miss nothing. It was to build anticipation, which is the weird teaser for our anticipated games of the year. It's a play on words, and that's why we're a little late. But thank you for waiting and being patient and listening to us now. I'm doing pretty swell. If I don't remember if you asked how am I doing, but hi. Yes, I would say I've been doing all right. It's 2024. There's a lot to look forward to, maybe. I'm not going to lie.
I hope so.
There's been too much 2023 to even think about the fact that it's not that anymore. Well,
2023 had a lot of stuff. It was a banger year for some titles.
It was a backlog year for some titles. It was. My goodness, I bought a lot more games that I ended up being able to play this year. They were big. And, there's a lot of stuff. So,
well, all honesty, you didn't have a whole lot of time last year to play.
Not even so much, though. With the time that I did have, the games that I was playing took up a lot of it. So,
yes.
But it's a good thing, when you spend a lot of time with something, clearly you're having a lot of fun with it, which I did. But, so many things, which, I mean, lately, with the bit of time I've been finding, I've been trying to enjoy some smaller experiences, so... To basically touch on how the year wrapped up for me, I did finally complete Omori before the end of the year. I wasn't able to update on it, but I met the deadline, I think, on Christmas morning. And
what a way to end or start Christmas Day.
Yeah. No, it was good, but I will get into that more so a little later. But beyond that, I've been trying to get some smaller games under my belt, and I played a charming little Metroidvania called Haiku the Robot, which maybe might be a Mindy's later. I don't know. If you ever give it a shot, we could probably talk about it. But
I'm always down for new Mindy's, especially ones that I wouldn't normally touch.
It was a nice, relaxing. It's a very by the numbers Metroidvania, and I had a good time with that. So and. Then, on the trend of doing smaller games, I played through Lies of P again. Which, to against my first playthrough of 35 hours, I did it in 10 hours. And, I just wanted to get to a different ending, and I didn't do that. I played through the whole game to end it the exact same way, which...
Nailed it.
It was a lot of fun, but I made a total mockery of the game, and then it made a mockery of me. And that just only seemed fitting for such a joke of a playthrough. Still fantastic game, would highly recommend. But beyond that, I finally started last year's critically acclaimed, maybe, Super Mario RPG.
Oh, very good.
Yeah, I haven't had much time for it, but the little time that I have, it's hard not to, look at it through a very comparative lens, because I, though funny enough, have never beat Super Mario RPG like yourself last year, which you beat twice last year.
Yes.
Yeah. It's a very interesting turn, but I've always gotten to the very end, and I've done it several times, so I know this game very well. So when I look at scenes and how they're portrayed in this new remake, part of me is well, they didn't do it identically, and that makes me a little upset. But I also know that this product isn't for me, per se. So...
Okay, so what would be an example of, what you don't like?
So it's not even that I don't like. I think it's just because my brain is telling me because it's not exactly the same, and I know it's not because it's a remake, but it's a very faithful remake. So the opening scene where Mario is heading towards the castle, and I can't really say this is spoilers because this is literally what happens right when you boot up the game. It was the camera angle almost from the sky, and you saw the little Mario approach along the bridge, and he would do his little jump, and then he would go in the castle, and now it's like a camera angle from behind him, and then it pans up to view the castle.
Yes.
And it's little things like that, and other than that, the only other cutscene I would have seen is another one from very early on when you meet Mallow. And they're not
it has
bad.
the croc.
Yeah,
Croco.
they look
Yeah.
great, for sure. And I think it's just one of those things that they were never cutscenes before, right? And I think it's really cool that they are cutscenes, but it's different and it's weird.
Right.
So I'm still getting over that kind of like, it's not the same game, even though it's very much the same game. That said, that's wonderful. I love.
You got partial boomer mentality.
I do have partial boomer mentality. It's like, why isn't it this? But it's because it's so close to this that it's weird. But
Yep.
Mario's
I
little
get
shuffle when someone levels up is worth the entire price of admission. It is adorable.
The level up screen does not need to go that hard. It is.
No.
I was upset at it first because it's like, oh, they aren't coming through the pipe, and I don't have the. Okay, fuck all that. That can go away for what they put in because it is just adorable.
Yeah, no, I'm very much enjoying it, and like I said, I'm not terribly far yet, but looking forward to what the rest of it's gonna be like, and this potential additional content as well. But yeah, how about yourself? How have you been? What have you been up to? How'd you end the year, and what do you start it with?
End the year, it's so weird because so much stuff was going on just with the holidays and trying to go this place, that place, and all that for that. So gaming time was kind of limited, but I finished the year on Satisfactory, and kind of continued that playthrough into. So I started playing that Christmas, and then I just stopped like a week ago. For those that don't know, it's a factory building game, logistics games, and I get sucked right into them. Same with games like Ark, which I've discussed before. Factorio is another one where you're building your factory, and yeah, they suck up my time. I get addicted. So like gaming's never interrupted my responsibilities, but Satisfactory and Factorio and Ark all have kind of interrupted responsibilities before. So they are known as, for me anyways, as much as I love them, problem games, if you will.
Yeah.
So it was a dangerous situation, but I put it down. I achieved what I wanted to achieve, and then I kind of moved onwards to other things. Other things being, I did Final Fantasy Adventure on the Game Boy.
Oh, charming.
Castlevania Advanced Collection finally showed up from limited run, so I did Circle of the Moon. I finished that actually last night, and then I started into Sword of Mana, which was a quote-unquote remake of Final Fantasy Adventure for Game Boy, just on Game Boy Advance.
It was one of many remakes to come, because,
yes.
I believe so. Adventure of Mana is the very first, Final Fantasy Adventure is the very first of the Mana games, and Sword of Mana, I'm pretty sure, is the first quote-unquote remake, but it's almost more of a reboot. Like, there wasn't much to be there for the original Final Fantasy Adventure to begin with, so you could expand on it very little, and it's still going to seem very different, but, like, it has, I think, completely different level layouts, and, like, it's a whole new experience.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Like, the map's not the same or anything, but, like, the story seems to follow the same path. It's just more elaborated upon and stuff like that. So I can see the essence of Final Fantasy Adventure in Sword so far. Now, I'm still very early, mind you, but I can definitely see that how they are the same game, essentially, just very different at the same time.
Well, and the actual remakes and I think those are called Adventures of Mana now. They're very faithful to the original, to the point where it's sort of Mana's in this weird, a really good way to actually compare Sword of Mana to another franchise, and this is a very far out comparison that'll make sense. It's like when Devil May Cry came out with DMC, and they were trying to do essentially the same thing. Like, it was still Devil May Cry, but it wasn't. And everyone was like, no, this isn't what Devil May Cry is going to be. And
right.
Square Enix was just like, well, they're not the main characters of this story anymore, actually. Don't forget about them.
Yeah.
None of that actually happened. It was all a dream. That doesn't mean it was bad by any means. I think they've just
No.
Mana has been a very turbulent franchise to follow. So,
Yes.
but I'm glad to hear that you are trying them out, and also just the general Game Boy and Game Boy Advance love is always gonna make me happy.
So it's been one. They've both been on my backlog for ages. So I've had the collection of Mana for Switch for quite a while. It was actually you who convinced me to get it, so I could play Seiken Densetsu 3, or otherwise known as Trials of Mana, because they were also coming out with the remake for Trials of Mana, a fully 3D one.
They're just great. Mana is just a great series.
Everything I've done in the Mana series, I've really enjoyed. So maybe, just maybe, because there's a whole world there, we could do an episode on that one day. Maybe.
Oh, we're gonna have to talk about Mana one of these days. It's a very special series, but also Castlevania. You said Circle of the Moon, which
Circle of the Moon. Yes,
that's one you have a lot of history with, right? Or
yes, it was my first introduction to Castlevania as a whole. So it's kind of what I expected. And I've played it time and time again, gone through it so many times. Always had a blast with it. And the Dracula fight really sucks.
I would be inclined to believe that. Now, I don't think Circle of the Moon is bad. I think it's actually quite good.
It is. It is good. Based on the Advanced Collection, I wanted to do it first before I dove into Aria of Sorrow. At least because I know every other time that I played Aria of Sorrow, then gone to Circle of the Moon, I've had a really hard time. Where vice versa, I always just dive right into it, and it's always a good time. Harmony of Dissonance is the middle one, right? And I have not played that.
It is not pretty. Because I feel so
blue
bad
glow.
for. Yes, the blue glow is an attempt to combat what the Game Boy Advance would later rectify in its dark screen, and it's just stuck with it ever since, and it's so unfortunate. It's not bad. It's very, you're still a whip wielding protagonist, so it's not quite the level of freedom of your Aria of Sorrows and whatnot. But it's a fine enough Metroidvania of a Castlevania. So
I'm gonna say something very controversial.
Uh-oh.
It's probably better than Symphony of the Night.
It's hard for me to say no. It depends on what you're looking for in a game, because I understand that Symphony of the Night didn't age the best, but it's a lot heavier on the RPG mechanics, as where I would say Harmony of Dissonance, I think, is just more strictly gameplay, right? You don't have that kind of flexibility with equipment and all that. As far as I recall, anyway. It's been a while since I played it, but it seemed like, just hitting things with a whip with a couple extra abilities and stuff you can unlock later. And you glow.
I'll find out all about it here soon, I'm sure. Once I'm done with Sword. I've been kind of on the Mana kick now. And Sword of Mana is really making me want to play Legends of Mana again. But then I've also really want to play Seiken Densetsu 3 again. So I sadly no kind of jolt to play Secret of Mana.
No, it's
I think the whole thing behind that is I did Seiken Densetsu 3 or Trials of Mana before I ever touched Secret of Mana. So I never had the nostalgia for Secret of Mana or that love for it, because I know it's been done so much better.
I would say, as someone who did exactly what you did last year, except not the sword part, but I did Adventure and I did Secret for the first time. It was great, but it'll burn you out on it a little bit. You'll probably want to do something that's not a top-down action adventure game.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
But that's why I got Harmony of Dissonance.
I was just gonna say, good thing Legend is a side scroller.
Yes.
Different-ish, but.
But aside from that, I've just been kind of one game to the next. Nothing all that exciting. I did play Pit People recently.
Oh yes, that's right.
I never beat it. It's not the last Behemoth game now, but their game 5, if you will. And it was a good time. It's not very long.
I'm guessing
And
you did this in commemoration of getting a copy of Castle Crashers physically, finally.
yes, and it's also so I did beta testing for the Behemoth way back when Pit People was about to be coming out. So there was a select few of us who actually got beta versions of it.
Oh.
And I really enjoyed that. And it was funny back then because like it was plastered game in development on the side, and the cutscenes were not colorized or anything, and so you really got a good sense that it was still in very active development. So that was a neat kind of thing to kind of experience, just the game being in development. And then I never touched it when it came out, which is too bad because I really enjoyed my time with it. So now that I've actually beat it, I'm glad I have.
I like Behemoth.
So,
They're so funny enough that you actually mentioned that, just in a weird runaround that they obviously got their start on something like Newgrounds. They were a Flash-based developer, and I actually just recently found out about something called Flashpoint, and now I haven't dived into it yet, and I'm not going to speak to its validity, but I guess it's a Flash emulator.
okay.
Or like an archive of like hundreds of thousands of Flash games. And
Ooh.
yeah, this is like, okay, so we did the episode of DOS, and I don't know if I'd ever want to do, like, maybe we could touch on Flash games one day, but I'm just going to say, and for people of that time, they know Flash games were where it was at, my God.
Oh god, there's so many, and the whole Newgrounds like atmosphere was just something that you'd have to be there to actually experience. And you know what? If that means that we can do a Flash video, or a Flash episode one day,
I'd be super
I'm
down to
kinda
talk
down
about
for it.
Flash games because, like, you think about like some of the old greats, like there were sites like Miniclip and Congregate, and like
Yeah.
they would go on to end up, a lot of these would end up in like the mobile sphere, right? Oh geez, like that really weird like made in Flash Paint MMO Adventure Quest, I think it was called. You'd always see like banner ads for it in random websites like Adventure Quests.
Yeah.
Um,
I was actually watching a video from Josh Strife Hayes on it
okay.
like the other day, 2 days ago.
So you know what I'm talking about. It was
Yeah.
very amusing looking. Oh
Which,
yeah,
not that he needs advertising, but his voice is just heavenly.
he does some good work. His Chrono Trigger, that's a
Yes.
fine video. But
There's the mention.
there's the mention. Yep, we started the year off strong. Can't not mention Chrono Trigger. It's
First 20 minutes.
It's always gonna be relevant, people.
Yep.
Well, what do you think? Should we give these guys a little musical break and then start talking about, I guess, like this year ?
Yeah, it's let's just preface before we go into the music. This episode's going to be kind of all over the place. I'm sure you guys are used to that with us by now. And yeah, we're just going to be rambling about previous times and what's to come. So, stick around. We'll be right back after this. So 2023 was a absolute stellar year for games, and just so much stuff. Some of the big highlights, I mean, obviously the latest iteration of Zelda's out. That was back in May, if I remember.
March or May, I can't remember.
It wasn't March. I think it was closer to summertime.
Yeah, I know it was in the first half of the year, and I know it took up a lot of my time when it came out, and yet I still consider my playthrough of that short compared to other people. But aside from that, yeah, like the sequel to Breath of the Wild, like that was a big deal, and then the year just kept pumping out big deal games.
Well, I mean, look at I think it was August that it came out, but the Game of the Year winner, Baldur's Gate
Yeah,
3.
yeah,
I mean,
that's a big
I
one.
still haven't played it. I have bought a physical because they've had some on sale on the Larian merch shop. So I got in the first wave, so hopefully that'll come up one day. And then why I'm hoping that it comes up one day soon, I don't know, because I'm not gonna have the time to play it.
No, no, that
But
game's gonna be.
I'm quite excited. The only other Larian game I played was Divinity Original Sin, and that was absolutely fantastic.
Well, and it's really cool that they went on to make pretty much what is the gold standard in really top-notch classic Western RPG games, right?
And what I find really interesting, and I think I've said this before on the show, and no one's corrected me since, so I'm assuming that I got this right, but they pitched the idea to Wizards of the Coast to do Baldur's Gate 3, and Wizards of the Coast says, yes, but we aren't funding you, and that's why they did the whole early access bit for the game. So it technically is an indie game,
See, now
just not an indie IP.
I don't know the story about it, so this is an alleged statement. But I
Yes.
feel like the reason for that is because Wizards of the Coast is now owned by Hasbro, and Hasbro, ah,
Is not your bro.
no, no, no. That we'll just put it like that. So, and it's funny. I remember when we did I think it was one of the Gaming Awards videos. Don't do videos. Was it last or Summer Games Fest or something? When Baldur's Gate 3 was essentially like its big announcement, and
Yep.
I said something along the lines of like, why does this feel like it's a big deal? Like Baldur's Gate
Because
3
it
seems like
was.
something that like should have been a lot more hyped, and now it's going down as one of the greatest RPGs of its time, if not all time.
Yes.
So
Which is spectacular.
it is.
Are
It's
are okay, so bold question, but are you ever going to play it?
I don't know. Now, it's not that I have no interest, it's that I feel like I'm interested in more things more, and it's a very big time investment, so it's hard for me to wrap my mind around when would I
It is a
realistically
very big.
want to play it, right?
Yes. It is
So,
a very big time investment. It's
yeah.
similar situation. Like I will play it, but oh god. I'm going to
I
need that good old side game to go with it.
I do think it's neat, but and now this is just me, and we said it once in this episode. Why not say it again? Another one of them boomer tendencies. That if I want to play a Dungeons and Dragons game, no lie, I want to play like the gold box, like DOS ones.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know why those have significantly more appeal to me, and I can't explain it.
Like
Something about the
the
simplicity of it. Yeah, like the ones for like oh I can't think of any names right now.
not the ones that they re-released for Switch.
No, no.
Because they released the pack. I got it on my shelf actually, Baldur's Gate 1 and 2
Like,
for Switch.
yeah, they did Icewind Dale. Is that the other
Yeah.
collection that came out?
Icewind Dale 1 and 2.
Okay.
And Neverwinter Nights, I think was Icewind Dale
Yes,
2 or something.
something like that. These sound familiar, but yeah, no,
I
not
played
those.
them
I
as
was
a
like
kid. I know that, but I know much of them. Fuck no. I don't.
much
I don't
much
remember.
older.
Yes.
Something about a fountain. I don't know what they're called specifically, but like I said, old DOS, like very old. No music, just beeps and boops.
Just beeps and
Icons,
boops.
just beeps and boops.
Like back in
So
the era of Might and Magic 1, probably,
yeah,
which
maybe
was
not
DOS.
one, maybe not one, but like color graphics, but not much motion on screen.
Right.
That's for sure. But all the same, I think Baldur's Gate, nonetheless, if I ever do play it or not, I can still acknowledge like that's a big game. And like, you know what I forget, but like Resident Evil 4 remake came out last year.
Yes. Yes, it did.
That's wild. And like it was really good. Well, I didn't play it, but it was perceived really well.
Yes,
Um,
I did play it. It was a good time.
just
It was really good. I forgot how long Resi 4 was, to be honest. Because it is a lot longer than your, like, 2 or 3 ever was.
Dead Space remake came out. Like, that seemed like it was a pretty big deal for a couple weeks.
Yep.
This new 2D Mario game.
New 2D Mario game, yeah.
Yeah, Super Mario RPG, like...
That got announced and released this year.
Last year.
Or last year now, yeah.
It is now 2024, yeah.
Like, it is now 20... I'm still adjusting to January.
It takes a while, I can admit that. And yeah, like, I picked up a lot of games that I just never got a chance to even touch, and I know they're going to be big time investments. Like, there was the Red Dead Redemption port for Switch. I picked that up. I don't know when I'm going to get that.
Yep.
Octopath Traveler 2. Still got to play Octopath Traveler 1. Like, ugh.
Diablo 4 came and kind of went.
It didn't feel like Diablo 4 came out last year. It's like you'd think it came out like the year before or something.
No, and they're still struggling with balancing the seasons.
Yeah, well, yeah. I don't know. Blizzard just hasn't. Hey, they just can't quite strike the iron like they used to.
No. Well, they created.
Not that they make bad games, but yeah, they just. Yeah, no, it's wildly amount of Lies of P.
That's another thing that happened this year was Activision Blizzard got absorbed by Microsoft. That actually went through. And Bobby Kotick is no more CEO. Granted, he got a giant payout, but at the same time, fuck that guy.
Of course he got a payout. But, like, is he finally gone? Or is it still, like, on its way out?
No, he's gone now.
That is a good news.
If he still has, like, a hand in somehow, probably, like, an advisor or some shit, probably. But it's bizarre, because now that he's gone, so many employees have come to, like, social medias and everything and saying, oh, what kind of shit he did and how much of an asshole he was, and just straight up disgusting human being.
Which, I can believe that.
If you paid attention, this is all stuff that we've been saying for years. But what do you do? So hopefully Activision Blizzard starts going upwards.
That would be nice. Maybe it'll stop being like a total game mill.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Except for Call of Duty.
Well, no, that's what I mean. Like, maybe franchises like that will finally reel it back and think quality over quantity, right? Because you got to think Activision owns a lot of very beloved IPs.
Yep.
And they just,
well, what's FromSoft doing now? Because, Sekiro 2?
That's Shadow Activision. Of the Erd Tree. Oh, true. That is Activision. Crash Bandicoot. Cash Banuka. Yep.
New Spyro or Banjo?
I was just gonna say yes, but Banjo is
Banjo's rare.
Well, yeah, rare, but it's Microsoft. Yeah. So I've heard rumors that there might be a new one coming, but that's the same with this is not the speculate on rumors edition, or we'd be talking about the Switch 2, because maybe, but no.
You know what? We'll do speculations here in a bit. Because that could be fun. Like, what we think is going to happen this year.
64 mini.
That thing's never coming out.
No.
Sega's going to come back into the console market and demolish Xbox.
I don't think Sega's going to come back into the console market, but I do think Sega's got a pretty cool year ahead of them if what their presentation at the Game Awards. Like, I don't know. I'm still stupidly hyped for those, like, classic Sega revival games.
Yeah.
That looks
so they
cool.
are all brand new games, not remakes.
Yeah, but they're just like, just complete revivals of franchise. Oh, that Shinobi game looks sick.
Yeah. That's gonna be good. Oh, what else happened in 2023? Aside from mass layoffs, gotta mention it. It sucks. Yeah. So far, 2024 isn't looking too good either.
No, probably not. I don't know. I got a lot of games that I didn't get to play, and I feel like 2024 is looking like a, hopefully, probably not with the way things go, but hopefully it's a good year for taking a big chunk of that old backlog out.
Yeah, I mean, I still want a good year of gaming, like games coming out and stuff, but at the same time, maybe some shorter games.
I'd be all right with a slower year. Slower but bigger, like big impact, but I don't know, last year was kind of a big impact year. I just want time to play games.
10 to 20 hour games with a big punch.
I like that
150 hour games with an okay punch.
30 to 40 is a good chunky experience, but not the kind I want all the time.
Okay, I get that I'm in the majority here, I'm sure, but who wants 100-hour game? That's not like a multiplayer party game or something like that. Like, I mean, I talk about Ark and Satisfactory, and I got thousands of hours in those kind of games, but I'm always playing with friends and everything, and it's a social experience. Whereas, like, a single-player game, who wants, like, 100-hour single-player game?
You know what? This might actually make an interesting discussion, just the whole quantity over quality, right? But what if that quantity is quality? Oh, whoa.
That's why I liked Elden Ring, because it was big, and I spent, like, 150 hours for my playthrough, but at the same time, like, there was always stuff going on where a lot of these, like, look at the Fallout games or Starfield. I can't say anything, but Skyrim I can. They got these big worlds, and it's just so empty.
I don't know. I played Elden Ring exciting. And Tears of the Kingdom last year, and that was dumb. There's two very big games,
almost back to back for you.
Yeah, and they're both great. Don't get me wrong, but oh my god,
so much space.
Yeah. I played Returnal last year. I got a PS5 last year.
Yeah.
Yeah. I want to use that more this year.
Final Fantasy 16 came out last year.
That I feel like that should have been a bigger deal, but boy, did that ever feel like it came and went.
Kind of, yeah. I mean, I still see people talking. Well, I see a lot of people talking about it right now, actually.
I think it's just about to get a big DLC or something.
Probably, because it had a DLC drop, Shadow drop on the Game Awards. Which I'm gonna wait till the next DLC goes, and then I'll probably do a replay through it, because it was a really good time.
See, I enjoyed the demo, and it seemed like this would get better.
Yes, it's one of those weird games where the highs are so high that it makes the standard seem low, even though it's not low. Because if you take its low points in any other game, it would feel like a normal game.
It's a roller coaster, but that roller coaster, like, until it finds a ramp, it's going pretty slow.
No, not even. Like that's what I mean. Like a medium experience in any other game is its low point. But because the highs are so high, its lows its standard game feels very low.
I see what you're getting at. Yeah.
It's weird. But
it's not bad, but it makes itself look.
It's new mainline Final Fantasy game. And that's exciting.
Yeah. I'm more excited for a new mainline fantasy again this year. Oh, I'm already scared.
Which one?
So Final Fantasy VII Rebirth.
Yes.
In a surprisingly short amount of time too. Like, I don't know if I'm ready for it yet.
Oh, I'm so ready for it. I'm purposely not touching too many long games because I know that's going to take up some time.
That's kind of where I'm at right now. So I have like almost a schedule lined up for myself this year, which of course I'm not actually going to adhere to. That would be wild. I don't know what's actually going to come out, but the next little chunk of time, like you said, is going to be to much smaller experiences. I think the biggest game I might play before it comes out is I recently have come into possession of a Wii U, just temporarily, just so I can play Wind Waker HD. So I think that will be the biggest thing I do if I do get around to starting that up. I'll have to see when I finish Mario RPG, but I feel like I want to play a lot of RPGs this year, and boy, do I ever have a lot to play.
That's good to know, because we will be touching on the whole challenge at nearing the end of the episode.
Yes. A slight recap for all who you have paid attention and told me to play Omori so much. Yes, we'll touch on that a little later, and then issue this year's challenge. But yeah, I guess
new year, new challenge.
Should we get into what the new year has to offer? I mean, we have already mentioned Rebirth, which
Yeah, so let's get into Rebirth a little bit. Like so Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is going to be the second part of a trilogy of the remake of Final Fantasy VII. Now, I'm sure everyone who's listening to us, if you didn't know that, you've probably heard us talk about it briefly in the past.
well, we
It was
did do
actually
a
what
whole episode on it,
we,
kind of.
we on the
Final
mainline
Fantasy
games,
as
yeah,
a whole, anyway. So
yeah. Now, have you done 7 remake with the Yuffie DLC?
no, I haven't. I did start it because I got a copy for PS5. So like I have it and can do it. But that said, I have actually seen the events that take place in the Yuffie DLC. So at least plot
Okay.
wise, I am ready.
So they've really been pushing the whole Final Fantasy VII, and rightfully so. Like it is a good story, and they're actually fleshing it out. Like the original's fine. It is great. It's a good time. Lots of nostalgia for it.
Oh, this
If
is
you
a
actually sit
spectacle, though.
back, if you sit back and look at it, the story is just fucky all around, honestly. And now coming from remakes perspective, they're actually filling out a lot of things that they should have or would have liked to beforehand, and it's really expanding the story, giving proper reasons. It's showing instead of just saying shit. Like one of my big things that I liked about remake was the whole fact that instead of like the original saying Shinra's bad, get them, this is like showing how devious and terrible Shinra actually is. And it's obviously because of the age, right? Like they have a lot more technology and everything. But then they also did a remake of Crisis Core, which was a PSP game, I believe.
Ooh, that actually got a recent like permanent price cut too.
Oh, did it?
Yeah, so I might actually get that soon.
So that came out last year?
Not last year, the year before. I almost think it was the year before at this point.
Was it the year before?
Yeah, I think it was like around Christmas the year before. Yeah,
Okay.
but it's been out for a minute or two. I know that.
So I played it last year. I know that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, between that and last year, I also played 7 Remake over again, along with the Yuffie DLC. Yeah, I am excited for Rebirth. And with it being like a month and a half away now, that is exciting.
Two
That has me
discs.
giddy.
Two discs for a
Now,
PS5.
Okay, that's fine because the Final Fantasy VII Remake was 2 discs as well.
Wait, was it?
Yep.
Oh,
It didn't have
played it and
changing.
I don't remember it.
Because it had the data disc and then the play disc.
Oh, that's not the same.
So now, actually, interesting story. Well, I said we're going to go all over the place. Baldur's Gate 3 is going to be 2 discs, physical for the PlayStation. Interestingly enough, 3 discs for the Xbox.
Weird.
And it's because Sony, I mean, they made the Blu-ray format, so they also manufacture bigger discs for themselves. So where for Xbox, it has lower disc capacity, so that's why it's on 3.
Fine.
Something about that, anyways. Yeah.
Well, that makes me just that much happier that I have a PS5.
Less disc swapping in the new age.
Yeah.
It gets copied to the hard drive anyways, let's be honest.
Oh, that's going to be a good one when that comes out. I'm scared because it's going to take up a lot of time. You know what's weird?
Yep.
This just came out. I don't know if I care yet. I hate the reasons why I don't care, because it actually does look really good. Is Prince of Persia, The Lost Crown, which, first of all, when was the last time you heard of Prince of Persia?
When they've been doing the Sands of Time remake, and it never keeps coming out. It's like Beyond Good and Evil 2.
Oh God. I remember, like, you know, I have played the original Prince of Persia for PC, and
the old DOS one?
Yeah. And it's, you know, I was fascinated by it when I was a kid, but I wasn't good at it. I didn't understand it. It is one of those games. Anywhere. Oh, let's see. I'd run out of the prison cell, and then I would make the jump, and then there would be a guy there, and it took me weeks, but then I figured out I could pull out a sword. And then I fought with him for a while, and then there was another guy, and he would usually kill me. Like, I was a very young child, but
yeah.
You don't know what
I usually
buttons
just
do
fell
what.
on the spikes.
Oh yeah, that would. But Prince Persia's been around for years, and now they've come out, and it's just like very, very competent Metroidvania now. Which I don't know. I'm a sucker for a good Metroidvania, and yet for some reason it's just it's a dumb bias, especially if it's a solid game. Because I know they've made good games, but it's just something about Ubisoft. I
Yeah,
don't wanna. It looks
I
good,
should
but it
try the
has what
demo.
I do like that there's a demo because like I might give it a go just for its fair share. It's not cheap though, which is another thing that I find a little strange. Like this is a full price game.
Really?
I think so.
I would have put it at like 30 or 40 Canadian.
Like I'd pay 40 for a physical, maybe even 60, but yeah, I think it's like $80. Um
When I can
so
get a complete remake, HD or 2D HD remake of Live a Live, something that was never actually over here in North America, for $60, brand new physical, then yeah, I'm not paying 80 or whatever for Prince of Persia.
heck, the
But it's
Trials remake was
Ubisoft.
like $60.
Yeah, the Trials remake, $60.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah,
Ubisoft is hemorrhaging money though.
Well, and it's the thing about, for however good it looks, and I know I've mentioned this before, and for those who know, they know, but it's just got that Ubisoft shine to it. And
Yep.
everything they make is just this weird shininess, and I don't understand why, but it puts me off. There's
You
one
know what
other
else is
one.
coming out this month that I don't care about and a lot of people are making fun of? Is The Last of Us Part 2 remastered.
Again?
Yep.
Wait, have they remastered this one yet?
No.
Oh. Well,
This game came out in, oh god, if I get it wrong, I'm going to be blasted, but I want to say the original came out just as the coronavirus was coming out.
ooh, I think
Yeah,
you're right.
first release June 19th, 2020.
Oh, that's a bad time.
Yeah.
There was very much lockdown vibes around that time.
Yep. So it's just I don't know. It's $10 to upgrade from the PS4 version. If you want a physical, it's going to be your 89 Canadian.
Yeah, doesn't do much for me. But
Nope.
you know what? I don't know if this will for you because I know you've looked at this before, and you've just been like, it's not the original graphics, so I'm not into it. But like, there's a new Ace Attorney trilogy coming out.
God, I want to check those out so much.
I've never played them. I don't think they'd be my thing, but they're also very much one of those series of games where people have been like, they are for people like you who don't think they're gonna be for you.
Yes, and that's why I kind of want to give them a go one day, but I do not want the I don't know what it's called, the flat images. I want the pixel art, because the pixel art was really good.
The pixel art was incredible.
I don't want the vector art.
And I think it's just because that artwork that you're apprehensive of, and I am too, trust me, I'm very biased to the sprite artwork. It's got that kind of like mobile phone kind of look.
Yeah.
Which is, you can chop that up to a similar category as that Ubisoft shine. It just looks a little wrong, Like there's a lot of games, like if I'm perusing the Switch eShop, you can just kind of tell they've got this weird mobile game kind of artwork to them, and it's not even anything to do with the game. And you're just like,
It feels cheap to look at.
It's almost like, okay, you haven't been on the Switch eShop in a while, I'm guessing, but
no, I hate that thing.
There's just an influx now of like AI thumbnail art for these games.
Oh no.
Oh yeah. Yep, it's happened. I do think a lot of them get taken down. I don't know, but I also don't know like how effective Nintendo is with their takedown policies of the shop. Like, fuck anything that's on that thing now. What else do we got coming out? I just see. There's nothing there's Tekken 8. That's a big deal. But I also
we've expressed before that we aren't fighting game fans. Street Fighter 6 looks great.
So I still want to try Street Fighter 6 one time, but you got to think, like, Street Fighter 6 came out, I don't know, early mid last year. Then we got a new Mortal Kombat, which was not nearly as good as Street Fighter 6, but also kind of hilarious. And now we got Tekken, and like these are some of the legacy, like big name fighting games. So
Absolutely.
to be coming out in such a short span is kind of wild. But I don't know. Tekken doesn't jive with me. It was like a new Soul Calibur. I might kind of lose my shit, but or the more obscure, if like a new Bloody Roar came out, that'd be fucking cool. I'd be into that shit. But it's just
I'd be
Tekken.
looking at that.
And, you know, Tekken's just like, yeah, that's the PlayStation fighting game, but I guess not anymore. So,
no, it's all over the place.
I
will say this. Helldivers 2 comes out next month in February.
What?
And that kind of looks interesting. I played Helldivers 1, which is more like over the top.
What is it? I don't know what that is.
It's a space shooting game. It's Helldivers 2, I haven't looked too much into it, but it's like a third-person shooter instead of over-the-top commanding.
This is an interesting...
They changed the genre into something I'm more keen to go into.
I just didn't expect you to say, like, I'm excited for a space shooter. This is new to me. I know you like shoot games.
It's not Starfield.
But... Oh, Starfield. Just the punching bag of last year.
Yeah. Something else that's coming out in February, though, is that if there is a physical, I'm going to get. Tomb Raider 1 to 3 remaster.
Oh, I was going to mention that. I also just have to mention the fact that I'm just giggling about Starfield. People are like, you know, Todd Howard, we're bored. He's like, no, you're not.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Or the attack of the devs on the forums on Steam.
Oh, that's rough.
On the reviews. Well, it's space. Yeah. Not every planet has stuff on it. Okay, then why'd you tote you had all these planets?
You're supposed to love it, damn it. But yeah, so it's funny when they announced the Tomb Raider collection, it was one of those things where I was like, honestly, how did this not happen earlier?
Yeah.
It feels like something that we should have had for years.
Absolutely. I do hope that there's a physical, because I do want to go play those games, and a big part of wanting to replay those games is just how wacky they actually are. Because, like, you think Tomb Raider, you think, okay, like, in tombs and all that kind of stuff, and raiding for treasure, but no one ever remembers how wacky, like, Tomb Raider 1 gets, to the point where you're, like, in fleshy walls, and you're almost, like, in a womb.
Just dual pistoling monsters. Like...
Yeah, like, they're skin monsters, they're flesh monsters, and it's like, this is not what you think about when it comes to damn Tomb Raider. This is...
I think the modern interpretation... Like Resident Evil
or Parasite Evil.
Yeah, because you think Tomb Raider and you think the more modern interpretations, like the remakes, and she's like, you know, taking out groups of bad guys and stuff, or you think about the Tomb Raider movies where they were almost like heist movies, and you don't realize the fact that she was taking on like Sphinx gargoyles and stuff.
Yeah.
So, I've never really played them, but the weird thing is like, Tomb Raider itself is synonymous with early PlayStation, right? Because people remember the PS1 game. And for me, it's actually more of like a PC gaming thing, because I had the demo like on my old PC when I was a kid. So that's actually where my mind goes when I think Tomb Raider.
Yep, same here actually, because I was originally given Tomb Raider 2 for PC from my uncle for Christmas one year. So it's... I've always played it on PC till I realized that it was on PlayStation as well, but I didn't have a PlayStation by the time I had Tomb Raider 2.
I also think that the minimal amount of up-resing, like they do look dramatically different, but they also still look like they are old, and they should look like that.
Yes.
So
it's touching up and taking some of the dithering away to make it more smooth and processed.
I think they actually did some new art assets for this game, but like, they didn't go overboard. It's not, you know, it's still going to feel like that old PC or PS1 game.
Right.
So, I don't know if I'll play it. Maybe I'll try it. If you think it's good, because there hasn't been much in the front of gameplay for it, so people are like, oh, how's this going to look when it comes out?
I mean, the game, if you play the originals today, I mean, they are rough controlling.
I was going to say, if it holds up equally or slightly better, then it can't be doing that bad.
Yeah. So if the controls are the same, I mean, a lot of people are going to complain that it's janky, and yeah, it is janky. It's product of the time. So's Resident Evil. But you know what? The fans still love it. That is what they know.
So something else that comes out next year that I don't know if I want it
You mean
yet
this
or
year?
not. Oh, geez, it is this.
See?
We're going to do this a bunch of times, aren't we?
We are.
Yeah. Coming out next month is Persona 3 Reload, and
Yes.
I've gone on record before saying, Persona is not my Shin Megami Tensei, but at the same time, something about this remake is like, it looks a lot like 5, which I didn't have a lot of interest in, but I know I should play, and something about this makes me want to possibly look into playing this remake of 3. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I also didn't know it comes out next month, and I'm like, it's too soon, I can't play it.
It's also going to be a long game, I'm sure.
Yeah, but it does look good. Didn't you ordered Persona 3 and 4 or just 3?
Yes, I got 3 and 4 golden coming for Switch from limited run, so
Yeah.
who knows when they'll show up, but I'm still waiting on a few titles that have been in active shipping for like 4 months now.
They're not that good sometimes, but sometimes you just know.
They're waiting for it sucks.
Yeah.
The products they make are good, but the waiting sucks.
You just gotta forget it exists. Just like I did with Suicide Squad Killed the Justice League. I keep forgetting this is the thing.
It's getting blasted on Twitter recently because there's been gameplay photos that have come out, and it's questionable.
I think this was supposed to come out a long time ago and didn't.
And they delayed it because they were getting backlash.
Well,
the backlash just keeps coming.
No.
I do hope it's good.
Anyway, but
I never want a game to be bad.
Sometimes I do. Sometimes I think it's funny when things are bad. But it was one of those things
more
that
good games.
If it was made by the Arkham studio, which I think it was, then yeah. But it also seems like super multiplayer focused in a weird way that it's like, they can't possibly do the Arkham series kind of magic that they did. So
no,
I don't know. We'll see. Wait, what? Oh, I didn't know this. Apparently there's a new Gunvolt game coming out next year.
Yes.
I knew nothing about this. What?
It's
a rhythm game? I'm going to have to look more into this. I don't know. I
did not know.
You know what? It makes sense. Music is a big part of the Gunvolt series, but no one knows what the heck I'm talking about, so we'll move on to Mario and Donkey Kong.
Yes. And before that, I'm going to say don't skip on Played Up. If you like party games and stuff with friends and just want stupid fun, it is the best way I could say is it's a restaurant simulator with friends that is also a roguelike. It is very similar to what's the game? Overcooked.
Yeah, I think I remember you telling me about Played Up actually.
It's a good time and it's coming to the consoles here shortly.
Interesting.
So yeah, Mario vs. Donkey Kong. There's 2 extra levels apparently.
Is that
so it is going to be different. Yeah, or I don't know if it's levels or worlds. I don't know how the game's organized, but I saw something that there's going to be more levels.
I hate that this is going to be an $80 game because this is going to be an $80 game. It's not a bad game. I have actually played this. Like, this is a remake of a Game Boy Advance game, and it's basically... So, you've heard me talk about Donkey Kong 94, right?
Yep.
So, this is a sequel to that, but it's a little bit more puzzly than puzzle platformer, and this is also kind of where they start taking the series into a bad direction. This one's still good, but the one after this would focus on the mini Marios, which it kind of just ends up becoming a really bad Lemmings clone at that point.
Okay.
Not what I was there for, but this looks okay. It kind of looks like one of those little like cheap pump outs from Nintendo where they're just like, yeah, we'll give them something.
See what happens.
Yeah. I don't know. It kind of feels like, and I really liked the last WarioWare game. Oh, I guess I can't say that. Another one came out.
Yeah, the move it out or shake it out or whatever.
Wow, whatever it was a good time. But it also, it just kind of felt like not Mario. Like Nintendo was just like, here's a game.
Yeah.
Mario himself was just, thank you for playing my game.
Yeah, pretty much.
I miss Charles Martinet. Yeah, that's something that happened last year. He
That
stopped being
is something that
Mario.
happened.
Oh yeah, there was a Mario movie last year.
There's a Mario and Last of Us TV series.
NAF.
The NAF movie, yeah.
I actually watched it.
Video game movies that are actually doing pretty good.
It's wild, isn't it?
Brave New World.
Yeah. What else do we got here? This is not one that I don't know if I want to get this, but it's a series that I want to look into. So it's kind of interesting we're getting one, and that is Shiren the Wanderer, The Mystery of Serpent Coil Island. Now, have you ever heard of the Shiren the Wanderer games?
I have not.
Okay, so they are old school roguelike dungeon crawlers. In fact, you know Pokemon Mystery Dungeon?
Yep.
Okay, so Shiren the Wanderer, I'm pretty sure is like the archetype for that style of dungeon crawler.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's very old school and hard as nails, kind of like if you die, you lose a run, start over, kind of just that stone soup style game that I love. So I don't know about this one because it kind of had like a weird 3D art style that I wasn't entirely into, but like the old school, like with the pixel. Oh, so that's neat that a new one's coming though.
Just will it be any good?
It's just a very niche franchise. So yeah, it's neat to see something like that come out, right?
And only on the Switch is kind of weird.
Oh, this is also coming too, which is like found out from thanks to Limited Run, but they're putting out a Sparkster collection, which Konami, keep doing this. This is sick.
I'm still waiting on the Silent Hill collection. 1 through 4.
Do it right or don't do it at all. Oh God. But
yeah. No, I like the HD collection.
I'm genuinely surprised because we got obviously the Castlevania collections, we've got the Contra collections, they've got a couple classic arcade ones, and if Konami's not gonna really do anything new, if they want to keep pumping it, they gave us the old Turtles games, like that's amazing.
Yep, and they did the Metal Gear Solid collection.
Yeah, they did.
Was it not good?
I don't own it because the reception to it has been quite poor. I believe that the physical copy on Switch doesn't really have much content on it. A lot of it's download. So I still intend to get it, but I'll probably just get it on PS5 when it's like on sale digitally or something. Like it's not, if I can't own it all, I'm just not gonna worry about it, right?
Right.
So, not that it was bad, but just the collection itself was not the most appealing offer. But if we get more classic collections from Konami this year, I am on board.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So, aside from the only other thing in February that's coming out is Final Fantasy VII Rebirth.
Yeah,
that has my attention, anyways.
That it's a good thing it's at least waiting till the end of the month. It's letting me do something in February.
Yes.
Otherwise, that would be very rude.
And if I'm being honest, March isn't looking that great. Aside from, I do have a bit of temptation into Dragon's Dogma, too.
It doesn't matter what comes out in March, or possibly even April at this point, because of Final Fantasy VII. That said, I hate the name of this game so much.
Oh, but I know which one this is.
Yeah, so Unicorn Overlord. It looks amazing. It's Vanillaware, and I mean, after playing 13 Sentinels, like I am now a fan of Vanillaware. I want to see more of what they can do. Definitely want to check out more of their back catalog because I know they've got like some cool, like they've got some beat 'em ups, they've got some action platformers, and a couple RPG-ish games, and it's just very beautiful artwork and solidly made games. But
it's weird when I played 13 Sentinels, I stopped caring about the actual combat side of the game, and I just wanted the narrative.
Hey, I just want to see how things play out because everything looks so nice, and the voice acting.
I just want to play the not game part.
It's wild, isn't it? Because, yeah, I'm not really into visual novels, and that game kind of sold me on it, right? So,
Yeah.
and it was compelling. I like the little bit of gameplay it gives you through the visual novel kind of stuff. Like, you're allowed to at least look around and talk to people and find stuff. Like, it still feels like you're doing something, but it's
Oh,
exciting.
absolutely.
Yeah, just a little bit of control. And those robots look really fucking cool. So,
Yes.
but yeah, so it's a new game from Vanillaware. It looks very Fire Emblem, but like if Fire Emblem was something I could take seriously again, which is a statement I've just made. I don't know. It seems a lot more like very more realistic, medieval, and gritty and stuff like that. So I don't know if I'm gonna get it, but I'm very intrigued just because Vanillaware, they do some pretty solid stuff. Other than that, from what's available in March, so I don't know if I'll get this, but Princess Peach Showtime is like kind of neat.
It is.
It's
I just don't know if I care.
like the whole different outfits and different gameplay thing is kind of cool, but it's also how much game are you actually getting out of it? That's kind of where my stance is, because I do like it when
Yes.
Nintendo does these weird, wacky spin-off kind of games.
Some of them hit, some of them don't.
That's just really what it comes down to, right? So it's neat that it's a thing. I will say that.
Oh, absolutely.
Other than that, nothing too crazy doing it for me when it comes to at least this particular list of March that we have.
Yeah,
Who
this
knows
is just a
what's
list of what stuff is coming out from GameSpot.
Yeah, and we start getting really, really sparse at this point with what's going to be confirmed coming out this year. We've got for April, there's Euden Chronicle, 100 Heroes, which is this exciting Kickstarter like revival, or it's a spiritual successor, I guess, to Suikoden, which I've never played, but it's one of those or at least Suikoden 2 is like one of those like high tier PlayStation 1 RPGs, right?
Yes.
It goes down with, it's obviously not as popular as like Final Fantasy VII or anything, but it's up there, I would say. And you know what really takes the sting out of this game coming out?
What's that?
I'm pretty sure we're getting a Suikoden 1 and 2 remaster collection later this year.
Yeah, they announced that like 2 years ago and haven't seen anything on it since.
But doesn't that sting?
No, because it'll still be its own thing, right?
I don't know. I feel like it's one of those things where I do hope it's a good game, and I hope people like it. I don't know if it's something I'm going to check out, but it's like I've got my eye on it. But it's going to be a real shame because it really feels like Konami was like, "Oh wait, people are going to pay for this again. Here's those games again."
Yeah.
So, which is good. I mean, companies should listen to what people want, but just something about that particular coincidence seems shady as fuck.
Yeah. But again, it'll still be its own thing.
Yeah. Now give me a Goemon collection, Konami. Quit being cowards. Or the Castlevania 64 collection. Never played them. I know they're bad. Put them on N64.
Apparently the second one isn't too bad. The first one is apparently really bad.
I've heard it's better. I haven't heard that it's good.
Yeah. It's okay does not mean bad, but I mean,
admittedly,
if you
though,
take it for what it is.
This isn't exactly like something coming out this year, but this is kind of like something I'm thinking of doing this year. Is I do still have an N64, so I've kind of been and hawing over the idea of getting an N64 EverDrive for that completely authentic at-home Nintendo experience. And maybe I'll have to check out some Castlevania 64 if I end up doing that, because that might be
neat. If you want to do that, I do have the first Castlevania 64 cartridge.
Do you really?
Yes.
Oh, I'd be down to fight some skeletons on motorcycles. Fuck yeah. Right at the beginning of the game, too. Like they do not mess around. Yeah, that's kind of, and, like I said, as far as I'm aware, like I think we've exhausted this kind of list of confirmed.
Yeah, because just going quick fire, like new Destiny 2 expansion in June, along with Neverdark.
Ooh.
Nothing for July. August is Black Myth Wukong. September, Warhammer 40,000 Space Marine 2. That's all the confirmed stuff that these guys had.
You know what I forgot about that if it comes out this year, I'm definitely checking out?
What's that?
Animal Well.
Yes. So there's a bunch of games that I know we have a bit of interest in that don't have a confirmed release date, but they've been announced. Animal Well is one. Another Crab's Treasure.
That one
I
looks
want
really
to check
cool.
out.
That's the crabs
It's
like, isn't it?
yes,
Yes.
yes, the Crab's like. So Arc 2, that's not going to come out for another 10 years.
Oh, Clock
That's
Tower is one that I'm actually really looking forward to checking out.
oh the remake.
I don't even know if it's a remake. I think it's just like, a touched up port. Like it's limited run doing Carbon Engine, right? So
Okay,
yeah.
yeah.
There's that Lost Shantae game coming out as well. I am looking forward to that.
Yes, there's that coming out. That looked actually pretty good.
I mean, they're always pretty top notch games, and it's just a finished Game Boy Advance game. Which, you're gonna give me a new actual like from its time GBA game? I am down.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Especially it's going to have that GBA feel to it, right?
Yep.
So that's really cool. Still going to hold out hope that Silent Hill 2 remake comes out this year.
We have more or less confirmed Visions of Mana. Like, oh.
Yeah, Visions of Mana sometime this year.
I hope it's good.
They say
I really
2024,
hope it's
so
good. I've seen
Me
a
too.
couple screenshots from it now. Like, I don't want to get too deep into it when a bunch of info comes out, but I still want to speculate. Like, oh, it's so pretty. And
yes.
oh, I hope Mana's actually back. That mobile
That'd
game
be
was kind of
great.
sad. This has been. Seems I really want to talk Mana. We'll get there. But
Yes.
what else do we got coming out this year? Maybe.
Maybe this year.
Just speculative.
Senua's Saga, Hellblade 2.
So I haven't played those, but I've heard they're really good.
So I played most of one. I did drop it briefly just because I got hung up on something else, but I really enjoyed my time with it. It's one of those things that I want to go back to.
Yeah.
So it's I will.
We'll get there one day.
Has there been any word on? Oh God, what is it called? It is the new Yacht Club games.
Mina the
Mira?
Hollower. I was actually Mina. You're the little mouse, and it's the Link's Awakening. Like it takes up from that.
Yes.
That looks so good, and I hope that comes out this year because that
would be nice to come out.
That looks really quality, and Yacht Club hasn't done anything in a good while since I think Shovel Knight Dig, and I want to try it, but it's one of those. It's not a physical, so how am I gonna play it?
Yeah, we're a little snobby that way, and I understand it, but
it's one of those things where though it's so hard to keep track of what I can't see on my shelf.
Yes, absolutely.
So,
like the backlog's hard enough to follow.
There's the possibility we're getting a Hades 2 this year. I won't play it in early access. I will wait for its full release though. So if it's not this year,
absolutely.
I mean, unfortunate, but we're getting a Hades 2, which is just very exciting stuff.
Yes, that'll be a good time when we actually get to play the full thing.
Yeah.
Outside of that, I'm not like Vision of Mana, Silent Hill 2, and Mina the Hollower.
Yeah, there's that remake of Metal Gear Solid 3, which, I mean, I'm not sure. I think that was for this year anyway, and that has the potential to be really cool. And I've never played Metal Gear Solid 3, so I think as opposed to doing it in the collection, if it's coming out with a full-blown remake, I might just do that.
Yep.
There's some things, but it's not quite the year you can immediately look to and think, oh, it's going to be a crazy year. Like, it actually feels like things are kind of winding down a little bit. Maybe not on the PlayStation and Xbox fronts, but I mean, you and I are...
After the year that we just had, I can't really blame it.
There's that, and we can safely admit we're much more on the radar for what's coming out on Switch, at least these days, right?
Yes.
So...
Gunbrella is going to be coming out soon, is it not?
I think that already did come out.
Did it come out?
I'm not sure.
Oh, it did. It did.
Yeah.
Yeah, September 13th, 2023. There's no physical at this moment.
That's why we don't know it exists.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Make fun of us if you will, but physical is in our blood.
It's the way we go. So You know what's a weird release? I don't care about it, but it's funny that it took this long for it to get a sequel.
What's that?
World of Goo 2.
Oh yes,
Do you not recall seeing World of Goo fucking everywhere?
I remember when the first one came out, and like it. So there's the story. They used to try and make a game every week, just basic ones, and the one that really hit it off was the one that was similar to World of Goo. So they made an entire game based off of it, and then yeah, it hit it big, and then ended up everywhere, and yeah,
That's charming. I can enjoy
yeah.
that.
It was like
But
they did nothing but constant game jams, and then that one stuck. There's
neat.
going to be Streets of Rogue 2 possibly this year. That'll be
I
fun.
haven't played the first Streets of Rogue, but I've always been intrigued by the concept.
It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I could see that. It's probably a good multiplayer time too. It's like Enter the Gungeon,
Oh,
but
absolutely.
a little bit slower,
Yeah.
more methodical, right?
Yes, it's like Enter the Gungeon mixed with Death Road to Canada.
That's another one I haven't played that I want to try.
Both good.
I don't know. Do you got any predictions, any speculations for what you would hope or maybe want to see this year?
So I don't like taking safe thoughts about what's going to happen this year, speculations. So I'm going to do some wild ones, and I'm going to continue the one that I had last year, and that was Konami releases a Silent Hill 1, 2, 4 collection. Doubt that's ever going to happen, honestly. And if it does, it's probably going to be based on the terrible HD remasters.
Oh, you don't want Comic Sans for your sign font?
No, nor do I want bad voice acting.
Oh.
Or do I want bad lighting where if you're shining, so like, there's a part in Silent Hill 2 that you shine your flashlight through the metal bars,
Yep.
and the top of the bars you see the shadows of. So it's just like this should go straight through. Like the bars you shouldn't be able to see the top of because they're attached to the ceiling, but you see the ends of the bars. It's bad.
That's not right. That's not right at all. Well,
And
hopefully
some of the fog, like you can see the fog isn't nearly as dense.
I do
on those
remember.
ports,
Yeah.
so you can actually see like the edge of the earth. That's not, you're not supposed to be.
That's not good. That's completely removing the fear and atmosphere from it.
There's a lot of things that are it's bad.
That's
But as for like a really out there kind of thing, I'm gonna say Nintendo's gonna announce their new console. It's gonna be a home only console, and they're gonna leave the Switch to be like a handheld. So they're still gonna support it, but then also have their new console again, and they're gonna kind of divide into doing handhelds and home console again.
See, what I want to see is if they come out with a home console that either the DS can, or not the DS, the Switch can complement in some way, or even a dual screen home console Switch Wii U kind of hybrid, right? So you would have your single screen portable device, or you could have it as dual screen, but let's say you could remove the top screen, put it in the dock, and then you have a gamepad with a screen, so you could do all the crazy stuff that you could do with the Wii U, but you can also emulate DS and 3DS games. That would be amazing. I want that to
cool.
exist.
That'd be cool.
Will it? I don't know. I just want hope.
It would be cool if like they incorporated both those ideas as one. So it would be like use your Switch as a control.
That's what I mean. Like that's if they come out with something where the Switch can actually just be a complementary device, like it's an own standalone thing. You know, have it take discs for fuck's sakes. I don't care, but like you can pair a Switch to one if you own it. That way, they can still sell Switches as their primary handheld option. And like this would finally give relevance to the Switch Lite, which would be nice because it's the most comfortable thing that no one uses.
Yeah.
So
and it would also be nice to still use the Switch as an option. And it would be also nice if they did backwards compatibility.
I know it does kind of feel like the Switch is kind of starting to get into its twilight. It seems like we're not going to see many big releases from Nintendo. Like, I'm sure the Switch is still going to get oodles of games and probably for years after it stopped getting support. But all the same, it seems like it's kind of in those last legs of it getting those big things. It might get one or two big hurrahs before we get this potential next console or whatever Nintendo's going to do. Do I think they'll announce it this year? I honestly think it would be smart. I mean, you can't keep selling Switches. Everyone's got one. So...
Well, how long did we know the NX before they actually came out saying Switch?
I would say at least like 2015 to a lead up of its like release on 2017, like something like that.
So
like
that's
consoles
like 2
are in
years
development.
ahead of time.
Yeah, consoles are usually in development by the time the console prior to it comes out. So, like, they've probably been tinkering away for a day or two on this. And
yep.
So I could see something like that. As for, what I personally want to come out of this year, I'm probably just going to say it every year. I want a new Mega Man game. That would be nice. I would appreciate I'm getting a new Mana game. Like, that's a pretty big deal. So, God, I hope it's good. But, a Mega Man Legends collection would be nice to finally see. 2 games, throw in Tron Bond, because if you just give me 2 games, I'm going to be kind of upset when you have technically 3. Heck, throw in Rock and Roll Racing. Like, wait. I don't know if that's what it was. I think that's a completely different game, but there was a Rockman Racing. I don't care. Just the PlayStation.
Give me a collection
one.
with Mega Man Soccer.
Oh, that would be so stupid. I want it.
The Has-Been collection for Mega Man.
Put in Mega Man and Base.
Yeah, Mega Man Dive. Now that they have an offline version. Do Mega Man Soccer.
That weird Monopoly kind of one called Rockboard. Yeah, there's a few weird spin-off Mega Man games to pull off of them. So they give me the Wonder Swan ones. Why not?
I know a mainline Mega Man or an X line Mega Man game would be fun, but at the same time, I kind of want to see like Legends make a revival.
I'd be all right with that. If like a true Legends 3 would be really cool. But I am not about to hold my breath on something like that. So
no,
I mean that's kind of what. But I mostly just want to have time to play some games this year. That would sound good to me.
Yeah.
And
so something else about this year that I said that we'd kind of dive into, like that. Those are some gaming predictions that are kind of off the cusp, and just figure that probably not going to happen, but fun to kind of speculate about. And we talked about things that are coming out this year. We talked about last year. But let's talk about us and what's coming for the podcast. This year we are going to try and expand out. We're going to try and get a few guests and everything on the show a little more often, because we've had Krev on for Final Fantasy, just the entire series, mainline series, anyways.
Yeah.
We had Toadie come on for last year's Bossy. She's going to be here for this year's Bossy, which is probably going to be the next episode.
We also talked Pokemon.
We also talked about Pokemon.
Yep.
So
it's cool doing those series deep dives with people. I'm hoping we do more of those this year.
Absolutely, and I'd like to see us do a few more collaborations. You guys seem to really enjoy them as well.
Yep.
And I that's one thing I want to see. I want to see us kind of get better on our own. Just do better as who we are as hosts, and become more entertaining for you guys. And maybe not miss the odd episode as well.
Sometimes life happens, folks, but we'll try to make sure it happens less.
Yes. And what else we got? We got something else. We got the competition or the challenge.
I'd say challenge is better. Competition is a bit aggressive, but issue a potential challenge of interest.
Yes. So last year, we gave each other a challenge, and that was to finish a game before the end of the year. And that doesn't sound like much of a challenge, honestly, but it's games we wouldn't normally play unless this kind of situation turned up. And last year, I asked Tyler to play Omori, and Tyler asked me to play Final Fantasy 3 or 5.
Yes.
So, and that was the thing that happened last year, was the physical version of the Final Fantasy Pixel Remasters came to consoles.
I'm so glad
after
that's something
a few years.
own. Yeah. That's a nice piece of my collection.
So a few months ago, I played through Final Fantasy 3, and it was a good time. You blew up a lot of airships.
Yes, there are a lot of airship casualties in 3. So, I mean, this doesn't have to become the grand old Final Fantasy 3 discussion, but yay, nay, was it meh,
It was a good time.
It's
It was
old.
better than 2.
Yep.
2 had a lot of questionable things. This did as well, but it wasn't nearly as bad as 2. I mean, two's fine. 2 is fine. Who's the final boss? Cloud of Darkness?
Yes.
Yes. So that whole gauntlet was okay. She gave me a run for my money, that's for sure. Yeah, that whole final dungeon, kind of typical for Final Fantasy series to do that, at least the early ones. But
Well, you
yeah,
played
that
the
was
Pixel Remaster, did you not?
yes.
So that one's a little bit more forgiving, but yeah, that final dungeon
It's
is a
still a climb.
slog. Oh
Yes.
yeah. What did you think about the first ever implementation of the job system? I mean, it's you could say the first one had it, but I mean this one it lets you have a little bit more freedom and you can kind of work around it, right?
It was fine. I didn't play with it a whole lot, to be honest. One thing, like, I want my characters to be set up and go from there. I don't like fiddling around with them too much mid-game. So the whole job system is not so much my cup of tea. And I know that from here out, it's going to be kind of that for 4 and 5, is it not?
No, so 4 is you have set characters with set classes. So, and 4 is wonderfully paced and pretty much does everything for you. You really don't ever have to actually think about what you're going to do with your characters because it's much more focused on its narrative. And yeah, I think 4 is one of the most, and I say this not in a negative way, but one of the most mindless of the Final Fantasies that you can just pick up and play and it will do it for itself. You just have to not
Right.
suck at it. 5, however, is one of the more like in-depth and technically complicated ones because it has the job system, but unlike 3 where it's like, okay, now I'm this, 5 gives you a lot more synergy between the jobs you use. So you're constantly wanting to switch jobs, you learn more skills, you get more passive buffs, you can equip more
Okay.
things. Like 5 has a wild amount of experimentation, and it is probably one of the most deep and interesting and customizable combat experiences, at least, up until maybe the materia system, which is just nutty.
That's his whole other thing.
Yeah, so I would say 5 is a lot of fun from a gameplay aspect. It's probably one of the dumbest stories Final Fantasy has ever told, though.
Fair.
Like, it is just downright comedic, and you could tell, like, their writing style was significantly more lined up with comedy on this one, and so it kind of takes away from it, but it's still fun. The music's great. I would say 5 is more interesting than 3. I just like 3 more because it's one of my favorites. So,
Fair enough.
yeah, but not going to say it's the most exceptional thing in the world.
But 3 was okay. 3 I enjoy my time with 3. I've enjoyed my time with 1, 2, and 3 now. Because I played them all 3 last year. Gonna be doing 4, 5, and probably 6 this year at some point.
Nice.
So gonna be excited for those.
Yeah, I have much
I also
larger.
did Final Fantasy 12 last year.
Oh my god,
Jeez.
that's right. A lot of Final Fantasy for you last year.
Yep.
So,
And 16.
And 16, yeah. It's weird that didn't immediately, and 7 again. And
Yep.
wow, that's a lot of Final Fantasy for you.
And
last
a little
year.
bit of 14.
Oh yeah, that's right. That'd be the odd one of the bunch, that's for sure. Well, in response, I did finally play your beloved Omori, and
Yep.
I enjoyed it. It was
You played
nice.
Omori and now I'm depressed.
It was a good time. It was a very, very simple kind of just turn-based RPG. Not like super simple to the point where it was mindless. Like I would actually say Final Fantasy IV is more mindless. Not in a bad way, just this is what it is. But
Yeah.
I liked it. The visuals were very nice and charming. You can very much tell like this is an RPG Maker game, but like it was a very, very quality experience. And I'm not going to say I nearly fell in love with it to the degree that you have, but it was good. I enjoyed it. I will say, without going into details, like we might talk Amori one day in more detail, but I understand why a lot of it was there, but boy, did a lot of it just kind of feel like filler.
Yes. Like the
It had a very episodic nature to it.
Yes.
So,
very much
but
so.
It did a good job.
Not the last chapter, but the last main section of Headspace.
Yep.
Humphreys.
Yep.
It was kind of a low point, at least until the very end of it.
Fucking and then terrifying.
Then it's terrifying. I am a sucker for psychological horror, and that's what Omori does very good. Kind of gets you in the feels. That's why I've really taken to at least the first 3 Silent Hill games, and it's also why Mother 3, not that it's psychological horror, but it's very hit you in the feels at the end, and I really am a sucker for those kind of games. So that's why I really enjoyed Omori. Is like there's all this tragedy that kind of wraps around, and you start making sense of it all near the end, and it's like holy shit. And then depending on the path that you go, everything can go downhill fast.
It very much had a Wizard of Oz-esque, and you were there, and you were there, and you were there.
Now, without going into spoilers, that last fight that you're kind of...
So, okay. I'm barely talking about this on a RPG battle level, not going to get into the spoiler of it. I don't care for story-based final battles unless you give me a proper final battle prior to it to justify it, and they did not do that. It was good, and it had a lot of meaning to it, but I want an actual battle. So I was a little let down by it, but I liked the music, so I had a good time all the same. Yeah, no, it was
Fair
good.
Enough.
Like I will say the one thing Amori did really well is once you are invested in its plot, it is very compelling. So, yes. Is it the most groundbreaking plot? No, but it is told very well, and it does a lot of things in a very interesting and unique way. Like I really enjoyed it, and it is an experience that stuck with me for a little bit after playing. It gave me some stuff to think about, which I think if you're telling a story, that's what you want it to do.
Yes, and the characters they gave a good amount of development to the characters, like detail to them and who they are and their own personalities. Like between Kel and Aubrey, you could tell that they are very much 2 different people. Like if you didn't see their portrait or name, you could figure out who's talking.
No, the characterizations were done really well, and even though it's a very RPG Maker game, whoever made it, did they ever do a lot with it? Like a lot of the sprites, they're very expressive. Yeah. The artwork in it is really well done. So Amori's good. It's not about to be in my tops or anything, but hey, I might give it another go for seeing through the other route one day. I should probably do that with Undertale first. That's been a day or two, but I like it. If people enjoy a nice, just not too difficult but challenging enough RPG and a nice compelling plot with a bit of mind fuckery, I'd say it's worth checking out.
Yes.
But does that mean we get on to what
new year, new challenge?
Yes.
So, and you know what? Even up until this moment, I'm having a difficult time choosing what I should send your way, because there's 2 that I'm kind of struggling with. So why don't you go ahead? Do you know what you're gonna ask of me?
Oh, do I ever?
Okay.
Now, I was thinking about it and I was pondering. I was like, do I keep a similar trend? And do I challenge you to play either Shin Megami Tensei 3 or Shin Megami Tensei 5? That was kind of, but I don't think I want to do that, because I feel like that's a series you're going to get around to on your own one day, and I'll just let that happen when it does. And if I issue another turn-based RPG 2 years to go, that's done. So we're going a little left field, but like I said, you're not going to be surprised. You're going to be surprised, but you're not going to be surprised. I want you to play it. And that is Okami.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, what is Okami? Just,
So, Okami...
I know you've told me about it, but I don't remember what it is.
So,
and, I mean, people listening.
Yep.
would be
So
good.
this is a game that came out, I think initially on the PS2, and
Okay.
it is made by, at the time, I think they went by Clover Studios, and they would go on to become Platinum Games. And
Okay.
yeah, and this game is beautiful. So to describe its gameplay, it would be very similar to the older generations of 3D Zelda. So if you think things like, Ocarina of Time, like it follows that kind of formula, but you play as the sun god Amaterasu, and you are a wolf with wild nature powers, and it has these interesting mechanics where you can solve puzzles in the world by like painting on it. So for example, if it's nighttime and you open up your magical paint pad and brush and draw the sun in the sky, and now it's day. Like, it's got a bunch of really cool interactive puzzles like that, and it's just a wonderful game that I think more people should play, and it's been remastered and released on everything now, so
So I'd be able to play it on a Switch or PS5.
you sure would.
Excellent.
Yes, so that is
All right,
my
Okami.
challenge to you.
Okay. So I'm gonna go through my thought process and I'm gonna say a couple of the games that I was gonna choose.
All right.
One of them was my beloved Sekiro.
Okay.
And
Yep.
I thought about it, and it's like, you'll get to there eventually, because I'm sure, similar to myself, you'll eventually get to pretty much all the FromSoft games that are available to you.
Well, I feel like that's a similar
out of
thought
kind of
that I
respect.
had. Yeah, like the same thought
Yeah.
process I have with Shin Megami Tensei. You know it's there. You know it's beloved. You'll check it out one day, right? So
Yes,
it is pretty
and
safe
I have
to say
Shin
that something
Megami
like
Tensei
Sekiro.
5 on my desk.
Yeah, so Sekiro is something that will happen one day when I'm like, I've the soul's itch, but I have not a soul's to itch it. So that'll happen one day, undoubtedly.
Then I was thinking, well, I could do something a little left field and say Loop Hero,
Okay,
because I really enjoy my time with Loop Hero.
That would be quite
It's-
left field.
It would be very different. And then I was thinking Crosscode, because that's like action but RPG. But I'm gonna go completely left field on you and do something that's it's not so much combat oriented, but I think it's something that you'll enjoy it. You will enjoy it.
I have my suspicion as to what this is, but go on.
What do you think it is?
Oh no, I'm waiting to see where it is first.
It's one that you're
older.
No?
No?
No.
Okay.
It's gonna be one of these that you're gonna be like, okay, I don't know how I'm gonna feel about this. And then once you get into it and actually start the gameplay loop and everything, you're gonna be like, I'm actually really enjoying this, because it's hitting that kind of old school itch for a
All right, what do we got?
CRPG. And that's gonna be Disco Elysium.
Ooh, that is an interesting choice. Okay, I can accept that challenge for sure. Yeah, no, I think I'd be down to check out Disco Elysium.
It is a really good time. It is very, like, for anyone that doesn't know, it is a CRPG to the core. It is lots of stuff kind of going around. You start the game off, you're pretty much naked and in a hotel, and you have no idea who you are. And this isn't going to be spoilers or anything, but the game starts out just pitch black, and it's your nervous system narrating to you what you feel and the fact that you are hungover from drugs and booze. And as it turns out, you're a detective, but you have no idea who your name is.
Honestly, like, if I'm in the mood for like a good, solid narrative time, I'd be way down to check out Disco Elysium. I think that's a fine choice.
Awesome. I was a little concerned. It's like, I don't know.
No, I can get into
But
that.
It's one of those games that I think everyone should at least try.
You know what that suggestion makes me nostalgic for, and I'm sad I don't have it. I think it is on the Switch, but I would have to get it digitally or something. Just because you mentioned like CRPGs, something that I played, and I think I've mentioned this before, possibly when we were talking DOS, but the old LucasArts CRPG, Full Throttle.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, so like I know that Disco Elysium is significantly more mechanically rich. That was just a point and click, but still,
Yeah.
It's got that kind of vibe, and it's super easy to get invested in those kind of games. So like, if you had said Baldur's Gate, I would have been like, fuck. But
No.
Disco Elysium, which of course very different game, but it's still kind of fitting that similar kind of vibe to it. Oh yeah, I can get into that for sure.
Yep. It is certainly something that I highly suggest to everyone, honestly, to at least check out and see if it'll tickle your pickle, to say.
No.
Really good.
Well, I think we both own these respective games, so this should be easy enough to pull off.
Yep.
Swell. That's 2024. Can't wait till mid-November when I'm getting bugged to do it, because I haven't yet.
You're gonna need some more time than you left for Mori.
Oh, I'm aware of that. Yeah, no, Disco Elysium's gonna take a good chunk, but no, I'm looking forward to that. But yeah, should we wrap this this rambly start to the year on up then?
We absolutely should. And yeah, so new year for the podcast, 2024. We're gonna try and get some more guests on for you guys and have some more in-depth conversations. Again, we will still be rambly as always. No plans on changing that bit. And
while you're here,
yeah, you guys seem to like it, so we're gonna keep doing what we do. And with that said, that's been episode 31, and we will see you when the Bossies come out.
Ooh. Bye.
It's the second annual Bossies next episode. Take care, everyone.